Hi, it's Colin Cowherd. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks.
We talked a lot about this last week. Bengals open as 3.5-point underdogs immediately. I went to bet it Sunday night when it was 3.5. I was going to bet the Bengals. And almost in the instant between seeing the line at 3.5 and then opening the apps that I can bet on in Connecticut, the line jumped to 4. So I grabbed the Bengals +4 thinking, nailed it. And yet money kept coming in on the Rams. And all of a sudden, the line went to 4.5.
It's honestly shocking how all the calls I was getting were on the Rams last week. Hanging out with professionals, talking to a bunch of different guys and hearing what they're hearing. Way more than I thought we're going to be were on the Bengals. A lot of pros do actually really like the Bengals. They look at this team that there was a bye week. Again, this is what they're saying. There was a bye week, say it was, week 10 for this Bengals team. Since then, they've been top 5 in defense and offense. Almost any metric you can look at. They've just been really good, especially at their efficiency, where they give up yards on defense. They don't give up touchdowns. They put up yards on offense consistently. Like, they don't just have a lot of 3 and outs. They're very, they'll get a couple first downs and then maybe punt, or they'll get a couple first downs and a field goal. That's rare, where a lot of teams, they'll come out, they'll just go 3 and out. So we've seen just a very balanced team in this Bengals team. I've had a lot more pros talk to me about that, where I joked with you, Chad. I looked at this line. I thought it should be 3. I heard a bunch of pros saying they think it should be 6. That's why they like the Rams. And I was just like, I don't see it. I just don't see that with this Rams team. Yes, they are very talented and everything else like that. I've seen the stats about Aaron Donald going up against this offensive line. That's a big advantage. But it was interesting hearing all the pros that were so pro Bengals, because I honestly felt like I was on an island last week. It felt like no one was taking the Bengals. So if people really wanted to know who the pros were betting, it's still skewed towards the Rams. More professionals had bet the Rams, but I would say it's more towards 4 out of every 10 is on the Bengals, where I thought it was going to be 2 out of 10. It's definitely more than I thought. So I'm feeling better as the week has gone on here about this Bengals bet and this Bengals team. I'm really starting to like it.
Yeah, to be clear, you and I both went in aggressively on the Bengals at +4.
Yeah.
Got up to 4.5. You bet it again at 4.5. I did not. I think we were thinking if it got to 5, we'd probably bet it at 5 too.
Yeah.
We had Stuckey on the podcast last week. Stuckey, who co-hosts the Action Network podcast with Chris Raybon. He liked the Bengals at +4. It's the consensus in the Action Network app. The projection for our models has the Bengals at +4, but the huge money and the huge tickets are on the Rams, which gives me a little bit of pause. Definitely feel better after hearing you say what you're saying about some of the market coming back in on the Bengals. It's just weird to me that there was so much sort of bias because of their season-long opinion on the Rams from professional bettors, given the way the Bengals have shown. They've had 2 games that they lost by more than 3 points all year. It just doesn't make any sense. They play these games close, and in a game like this, we've seen time and time again, Joe Burrow is not a guy who lets a game get out of hand. He finds a way late in the game to keep it close. That's why I like the Bengals, against Kansas City at a big number. 4 isn't a big number, but the Rams, to me, aren't Kansas City. So this makes sense.
But you'd agree with the pros that the only spot you grade higher for the Bengals is the run game. Joe Mixon, he's better than Cam Akers or Sonny Michel. Every other position on the field, you probably give the favorite to the Rams team. Again, I get why people are arguing for the Rams side. That's fair. Joe Burrow, he's incredible. He's very young. Stafford is better at this point in his career. He's just more proven. I don't know, buddy. It's one of those things. The week has gone on. I really tried talking myself into the Rams, mainly because what you've just talked about. It feels like other than pros, everyone in the media is on the Bengals. It feels like that's the cool thing to do, right? Joe Cool, take the Bengals. There's something about it. Luckily, the numbers back it up, because I hate if I'm just blindly betting stuff off that. I make this line 3, 4.5, 4. That's good value for this Bengals team. And I don't know if you want to touch on it, Chad. My favorite thing, we talk every year about it. I love betting Super Bowls adjusted lines. That's just something I've always done. We talk all the time. 9 out of 10 Super Bowls do not matter with the spread. So when I look at this line, people are going to say, did you take the Bengals money line? I do it different. I take a -2.5 with this Bengals team. So I'm going to take the 4.5, the 4 with the Bengals. But instead of taking money line, I take the 2.5 because historically, never in the 55-year history of football has a game ever landed on 2 or 1. Again, in the entire history of the Super Bowl, if you've bet either team -2.5, you've won that bet because it's never, ever, ever landed on 2 or 1. I don't know why. That is weird. It's a weird stat. But someone told me that very early on. They're like, you can take advantage of this because instead of taking Bengals money line, plus 150 or plus 160, you take the -2.5, it's plus 200. So this is what, year 3 of us doing a Super Bowl, Chad? We're 2-0 in Super Bowls. That means if we've done this every year, again, we had better odds doing it. But if we did this every year, we'd be up plus 400, plus 500 doing it. This is one of those where it's like, yeah, eventually it's not going to work out. A game is going to land on 2, or like the adjusted line won't come through, but it just keeps happening like that. The best one that stands out to me is that Chiefs 49ers game. Do you remember that game? Chiefs 49ers?
Very clearly.
They're down by 10 points, this Chiefs team, right? They were favored in this game. I took the adjusted line at -6.5. They were down 10 points in the fourth quarter. What odds do you give me at covering that -6.5, Jeff?
Plus 1,000.
Yeah, if not higher. It's not going to happen. Fluky shit happened. It did not make sense, but that's the Super Bowl. They score a touchdown. They score another touchdown. They're trying to run the clock out. A busted tackle. Williams takes it down the sideline, scores another touchdown. Like, again, did I bet on them scoring 21 in the fourth quarter? No. But we've just seen the Super Bowl. Weird things happen where these adjusted lines, that's how you can make good value off it. So I know during the season I bet differently. Like, I don't bet these kind of lines. For the Super Bowl, it's a very unique game. This is something I try to take advantage of every year, and it's really served me well. So if you do think the Bengals are going to win outright, it's scary. I get it. But historically, we've never seen a game land on 1 or 2 in the Super Bowl. Take the -2.5. The game usually lands on 3 or 4. Like, those are key numbers in the Super Bowl.
Listen to this. New Yorkers bet over $150 million the first weekend sports betting apps went live. But as hot as sports betting apps are, there's a new app that's El Fuego. It's called Masterworks, and it gives you access to one of the most exciting investments on earth, art. Not many people realize that blue chip art prices have outpaced the S&P 500 by 164% from 1995 to 2021. Thanks to Masterworks, you can invest in Hall of Famers like Warhol, Monet, and Banksy without needing millions. Over 320,000 people have signed up. Get priority access with my promo code FAVORITES. Log on to masterworks.art/favorites. That's masterworks.art/favorites. See important disclosures at masterworks.io/disclaimer. So I will take issue with one thing you said, which is, yeah, Joe Mixon is better at running back. Offensively, I think there is no difference. Like, I think Joe Burrow is great. I think Matthew Stafford is great. The degree of difference between them is minimal. I think receiving, Jamar Chase cancels out Cooper Kupp. Obviously, Odell is better as a number 2 than Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, but I think Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins together are better as a trio than the top 3 receivers that the Rams have. The real difference for the Rams is on defense. Like, their defensive line is just so much better than anything the Bengals have. Defensively, for sure, but offensively, like, the weakness for the Bengals is their offensive line. And you've got 3 Pro Bowl / All-Pro caliber talents in Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, and Von Miller. That, to me, is the only reason why people could be favoring the Rams. But to me, that's not worth more than 4 points, with everything else being equal or in the Bengals' favor. I feel even better about this game now when I think about it roster by roster.
Yeah, I mean, that's all fair. Like, maybe I left out safety. Safety would probably go towards Cincy. They are way more healthy at safety position than the Rams are. I don't know, though. Like, I think the Joe Burrow hype train, you're just being sucked in like everyone else. It's like, I went back and watched all the film. the kid made plays. Okay, I'll give him that. He's made plays in every game he's played this playoffs, but people that are like, dude, this guy's top 5, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. Who's smarter? Who would you rather have? It's like, holy shit, dude. What are we doing here? But yeah, Joe's hot right now. So like, I'm not going to be too hard on him, but I would still take Stafford over him. That's to me, it's still an advantage. But the Joe Burrow factor is why I'm betting this Bengals team. So if we want to go by how I think this game script's going to play out, actually I'm betting Rams first half. I like the value on the Rams first half. It's up to -3 now for Rams first half. Hopefully you can shop around, find a -2.5. But when I'm just looking on paper, it's like, we did a show with Chris Raybon. He talked about McVay really did choke the last time they played. Like, he choked. So I can't see him coming out slow in this matchup. I think that they have the veteran team in the Rams. That all favorites towards them first half. But full game, I really do love this Bengals team where, like you just talked about, Chad, like all the matchups, everything like that. The biggest thing is this team, they've been down multiple times this year. Like, I went through all their games. Like, that's what I've just mainly been doing, is going back, watching all their games. It is incredible what Joe Burrow can do, man. Like, they'll be down big. He'll be at 3rd and 14, 3rd and 13, and he'll just make the play. And like, again, that's not something you can coach. That's not something you can teach. You're just born with that. And I was shocked that, like, coming into this, I honestly was not going to bet that much on the Super Bowl. I just didn't feel that confident about either team. But as the week has gone on, as I ran more numbers, and it's like, I look at this Bengals team. You talked about, Chad. I feel like 4.5 is such a good number. Like, that's such a key number too in these Super Bowls, where we've seen past history. Most Super Bowls are either blowouts or 3 to 4 point wins. It's like, historically, you can go through it. It's usually, these are very key numbers in this matchup, 3 and 4. So I'm getting 4.5, which to me is a very key number in a Super Bowl. We've already seen it come down. We've seen money and tickets coming in on this Rams team in the app. The numbers dropped. Like Chad just talked about, the number has gone from 4.5 to 4. So we're seeing these pros now this week starting to come in and start betting this number. I'd grab that 4.5 if you still can. Like, again, I like the Bengals this game. I think the Bengals are going to win. Well, obviously, you're going to break it all down next week. But when I'm sitting here right now, it's like, I completely agree with my going in. My instinct was take the Bengals, take the under. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is I like Rams first half. I still like the under first half. Still like the under first quarter. I like the full game under. And it's one of these where I rarely bet live. If it's 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, I'll take the over, like the live over of that game. Because to me, it's just going to be such jitters for both these teams. Like, Stafford, this is his first year winning and playing well in the playoffs. Joe Burrow is like, I know he's lived up to the moment, but like, just got to think about, like, this kid's going to be 24, 25 years old walking onto that field, knowing he's playing for a legacy. Like, Dan Marino got to the Super Bowl his rookie year, never got back. And that's like, he's going to be hearing that. Stafford's going to be hearing that. It's like one of these things where this is the moment. So I could just see them being very overwhelmed, where that's one of my favorite bets right now, is taking that first half under.
Speaking of unders, you and I talked about this last week. We liked the under at 48.5. We thought it would get steamed down even more. It really hasn't. It's still sitting at 48.5. I guess we're still taking the 48.5, taking the under.
And if you already took it, I would just wait now, because the public should bet the over as we get closer to game time. So we could get lucky. It could get up to 49.5, which again is another key number. So I just wait. I wouldn't put any more on the 48.5. To me, this will be one of those, I think it's going to be moved towards the up, just because the public will start betting this week, and they usually take overs.
I don't think we need to belabor the point, Simon. We like the Bengals +4. You're betting the first half, Rams -3. You're betting the Bengals adjusted line -2.5. I've already bet the Bengals +4. We're going to wait on the total, see if it gets above, see if it moves a little bit higher before we bet the under again, hoping it ticks up to 49. I mean, we got a full menu. All of a sudden, for a game that, like, we weren't so sure about, or that we were anxious about last week, we are all in on Who Day.
Yeah. Again, it was more like last week. It was like, what am I missing here? I don't get why the pros were betting the Rams up so much, but I think we know why. Like, they have a little bit of a love affair with this Rams team. They've had it all year. They don't really, I don't know. I think they're overlooking this Bengals team a little bit. So we're happy to take the value, Chad, of 4.5 and 4.
We're not missing anything, Simon. We're just fucking right.